Shui Que, experimental subject of the Evolutionary Materials Research Institute in Zone A, codename 08, born on April 20, 3042, deceased on December 31, 3060. No known romantic history. No close relatives. A native of Zone A, last registered address, Dormitory Building F, Evolutionary Materials Research Institute, Queen Road, Shizi Street, Zone A. Cause of death, lethal injection of cyanide. Is this correct? The AI's synthesized voice was flat and emotionless, delivering the statement with complete indifference. The severe blood loss left Shui Que unbearably thirsty. He opened his mouth, but his throat could only produce a hoarse breath. In the end, he gave a small nod. His head drooped, his long lashes, soft as dove feathers, fluttering down like falling leaves, drained of all energy. Identity verification complete, the AI announced after a brief pause. Proceeding with new employee health assessment and department assignment. In the vast, empty white space, something finally began to take shape around Shui Que. Dozens of floating spheres materialized, forming a circle with a 10-meter radius around him. They hovered in place, whispering among themselves. He's so beautiful, black hair, pale skin, delicate features, but he looks like... He feels special to me. So fragile, like he might shatter just standing there. Move aside, number 77, you bumped into me. I checked his profile. He only just became an adult, so at least we're not dealing with child labor. But it's a shame, his original world was an apocalyptic wasteland, and he lived a hard life. He was taken into the research institute at 7, and they didn't even provide him with basic education. That means our system will have a hard time training him, and his employment prospects will be severely limited. He definitely won't qualify for agents or high education roles. You have a sharp eye, senior. But he does have an ability, so that's at least one advantage, right? It's called Undead Bird. I've never worked with anyone from an apocalypse setting before, so I'm not too familiar. But isn't Undead Bird also the name of No 18's favorite succulent? I heard it's nearly impossible to kill. Even someone like number 18, a notorious plant killer, managed to keep one alive. Found it. Let me check his research institute's internal data. Subject 08, here it is. Ability: Undead Bird. Description: blood and flesh possess extraordinary regenerative and healing abilities, achieving the myth of immortality. Note: can be used in medicine. At the last 3 words, the floating spheres fell silent. They exchanged glances, unreadable expressions flickering across their surfaces. The boy at the center of the circle seemed to have heard something. He slowly raised his head. The floating spheres finally got a clear look at his eyes. His eye sockets weren't deep set, but rather shaped like crescent moons, his thin eyelids trembling slightly. His frail, vulnerable body contained the power of an immortal legend, yet he lacked any armor to protect himself. He stood there completely defenseless, like a fledgling bird perched on a branch in the midst of a torrential downpour. He stood there completely defenseless, like a fledgling bird perched on a branch in the midst of a torrential downpour, its newly grown feathers unable to withstand the storm. Raindrops clung to his brows and lashes, heavy and cold. Shui Que lowered his head again. One of the largest floating spheres drifted closer, circling around him twice. Physical condition: F. Mental state. F. Luck. F. Intelligence. C. Agility. F. Endurance. F. Appearance. S. Overall potential. C. Assessment complete. The floating spheres immediately erupted into chatter. Only his looks are exceptional, everything else is completely subpar. Even his overall potential is just average. If he wants to join our department, it's not entirely out of the question, but... The main system hasn't recruited anyone in years, and now we finally get someone, but they're this unbalanced? Still, I suppose it's not impossible. After all, our department prides itself on accepting all kinds. And it just so happens that we're in desperate need of people right now. Smiley-faced senior, if your team has enough staff, don't fight me for this one. Suddenly, a small sphere tumbled out from the crowd, rolling forward with a series of emoticons flashing across its round display. QAQQVQTVT. Wah, wah. The soft rice system has detected that your fragility level is maxed out, your beauty level is maxed out, and, oh my god, baby, you even have a weak stomach. You were practically born to live off others. Join us for success, a peak career, and a lifetime of being pampered. Skip 30 years of struggle and start winning now. It spun in the air excitedly. Please, please, bind with me. I'll get down on my knees and beg you. I've prayed at the temple for thousands of years just to meet you. For you, I'd even turn into a werewolf, a woo. If I miss this chance, I swear I'll slap myself awake at midnight every single night for the rest of my life. Shui Que lifted his gaze. Even though the round mechanical body didn't have hands, he still agreed. Okay, quote ellipsis dot dot quote. The rest of the floating spheres were dumbfounded. 77 is so shameless. Who the hell stuffed its database with unhinged literature? Deduct points from the crazy department. Did anyone record this? I'm posting it on the system roast bot. Got it. Host, I found the perfect job for you. Your first role will be in an ABO world, playing a vain and materialistic alpha. The original character escaped the world due to a data disturbance, so we're stepping in to replace him. This role is super easy, barely any plot. Just a minor background character in a no-romance, business war novel. According to System 77, the original host was the illegitimate son of the previous head of the Song family in Haicheng, while the main character was his older brother, the true heir and current leader of the family. The original host's mother had been a maid in the Song household. After an unexpected entanglement with the former patriarch, she became pregnant. The Song family paid her off and sent her away. Left with no other choice, she returned to her hometown and raised the child alone. Years later, she passed away from a rare illness, and the Song family took in the illegitimate son who had been left wandering outside. The original host grew up in a small county town. His mother, unmarried and impoverished, had conceived him out of wedlock. He had spent his childhood hearing people gossip behind his back, calling him a fatherless bastard, which left him deeply insecure. Then, suddenly thrust into the extravagant, decadent world of Haicheng, his longing for wealth and status exploded uncontrollably. His biological father was indifferent. His stepmother regarded him with disdain. His older brother was strict and controlling. Deprived of love and money for so long, he began scheming. How could he obtain both wealth and affection at the same time? He began to disguise himself as an omega. At night, he would fish for big spenders on live streaming platforms, and during the day, he would flirt with rich young heirs at school. It was common for him to juggle 2 relationships at once in secret, coaxing them into covering his expenses. His pretty appearance quickly made him a minor internet sensation, but it was soon uncovered that he was an alpha and the illegitimate son of the Song family. The good older brother he had once known at school, who had treated him like a toy, was furious when he found out he had been played. In a fit of shame and anger, he exposed all of his deeds online. In just one night, his reputation was ruined, and ultimately, the Song family sent him abroad. He was a pitiable, tragic, and despicable character, whose only purpose was to act as a troublesome family member and add frustration to the male lead's life. To help the host better understand the background, System 77 also gave Shui Que a crash course on the ABO concept, as well as his own condition of pheromone disorder. The clinical manifestation being the secretion of pheromones that are contrary to one's gender. I understand, Shui Que nodded seriously. Can you do that thing you did before? System 77 was confused. The one you did before? Woof woof woof. He carefully raised his hand and gently patted the floating ball's head. Thank you, I like puppies. Haicheng No. 1 High School. The classroom was clean and bright, while outside the window, the autumn rain poured down softly. The sound of the drizzle woke Shui Que from his unconscious state. He sat up, the rainwater dripping down the windowsill and splashing onto his face, cold and refreshing, and it even dampened the ends of his black hair. Outside, the rain continued relentlessly, and the sky was dark. Shui Que turned his head and saw his reflection in the transparent window, the same face, the same body, only now wearing the blue and white school uniform. System 77 hadn't lied to him. To facilitate his work, his original character's body and name had been replaced by his own once he entered the world. Welcome to the new world, host. It was the last period of the afternoon physical education class. The pressure of the senior year curriculum had turned what was supposed to be gym class into a free period, allowing students who wanted to stay in the classroom to do homework. Shui Que had just been brought back from the small county to the Song family in Haicheng over the weekend. It was Monday, his first day at Haicheng No. 1 High, and since he didn't know anyone, no one woke him up during the last period. Shui Que stood up and closed the window, the glass making a loud screeching noise, sharp and irritating. What the hell are you doing? Can't you be quieter? You're disturbing my soul. His deskmate, sitting in the aisle, was woken up. With his yellow hair, he glared at Shui Que with annoyance, rolled his eyes, and then lay back down. System 77. Here's the first plot point. After Shui Que transferred, he quickly figured out that the students who had power in this school were all second-generation heirs or those in the student council, with Lu Fengqi and Ku Juchao at the top. To make life easier, he decided to pretend to be an omega and try to seduce them. He starts with his classmate Lu Fengqi, deciding to steal his jacket and rub his pheromones onto it to attract Lu Fengqi's attention. However, Lu Fengqi caught him and reported him to the class teacher, who checked the surveillance and contacted his parents, causing trouble for the male lead, your current stepbrother. Alright, Shui Que responded, so I should go steal his jacket now. Where is it? The floating ball System 77 flew around the classroom, visible only to Shui Que. Here, System 77 stopped in the other corner of the classroom on a desk. Lu Fengqi isn't here right now, and there aren't many people in the classroom. This is a great opportunity, host. Excuse me, Shui Que spoke softly this time, trying not to disturb the others in the classroom. Thank you. His desk mate, with yellow hair, took a deep breath, suddenly stood up, and pushed his chair roughly under the table. Is this good enough, young master? The way he said, young master, dripped with sarcasm. The yellow-haired student had also gotten into the school by donating money to fund building projects, or rather, most of the students sitting in the back rows had gotten in that way. His family was in real estate, and while they didn't have the deep-rooted history of the Song family, they were still well-known in Haicheng, with a respectable reputation. He had received news over the weekend that the Song family had acknowledged an illegitimate son. He couldn't stand the Song family, as their businesses overlapped and competed with his, and he disliked illegitimate children in general. He had 3 or 4 younger siblings eyeing him suspiciously. His attitude toward Shui Que was far from friendly. Shui Que walked past him toward another seat in the corner of the classroom. The desk was very clean, with not a single book on it. The blue and white school uniform jacket was the same model as Shui Que's, but clearly a few sizes too large. It was draped over the back of the chair, its sleeves dragging down to the floor. The cuffs were embroidered with the letters LFC in fancy English script. It was dusty, so dirty. Having grown accustomed to the sterile environment of laboratories, Shui Que instinctively wanted to throw the jacket into disinfectant. He glanced around. This was the corner by the back door, where most of the students still in the classroom were those who sat in the front and did homework. Shui Que bent down to pick up the jacket. Suddenly, a hand shot out and grabbed his wrist. Shui Que looked up to see his desk mate from earlier, the yellow-haired student. He frowned, suspiciously asking, "Hey, new kid, what are you doing with Brother Lu's jacket?" Shui Que bit his lip and stayed silent. The first plot seemed to have failed. He was caught stealing the jacket on the spot. The yellow-haired student was stunned. Strange, was this what Song Shui Que looked like this morning? His skin was so pale it almost hurt to look at, and his lips were a rich, vivid red, almost as if they were about to spill with juice at any moment. And also, you smell so good, the yellow-haired student leaned closer, his face nearing Shui Que's neck. A faint fragrance of gardenia seeped from his nape, with an almost imperceptible undertone of oolong tea. Wasn't the news saying that the Song family's illegitimate child was an alpha? System 77 screamed from beside him, "Host. He's sniffing your gland." "What's a gland?" Shui Que furrowed his brows. A gland is the organ that secretes pheromones, it's like a sexual characteristic. Ah. A horrifying scream echoed. Both the top students in the front and the lazy students in the back turned their heads. They saw the yellow-haired alpha's face turning blue as he covered his lower abdomen, slowly collapsing. The classroom was suddenly in chaos. Achoo. The door to the office was open, and a cold gust of wind blew in. The alpha sneezed loudly. He had a handsome face, and a row of ear piercings by his ear glittered in the light. The harsh homeroom teacher scolded, "Lu Fengqi, you're taking those earrings off today. You're still a student. Wearing earrings like that, what's wrong with you? This month, the student council's been deducting all our class's civility points." Oh. Yes, you're right. The student council had been targeting him for a while now. Another gust of wind blew in, and Lu Fengqi thought he should have brought a jacket before coming to the office. Just as this thought crossed his mind, a beautiful Omega entered the office. The blue and white school uniform hung from their arm. They walked through the hallway without any extra covering, the light rain misting their dark hair, which stuck softly to their cheek. The Omega continued to stare at him. Lu Fengqi noticed the embroidered LFC on the jacket sleeve they were holding. Suddenly, the heavy rain felt fateful. After Shui Que entered the room and made space, 2 alpha students carried the shrieking yellow-haired student into the office. Lu Fengqi. What's going on here? Next. Accepting commissions via